Hi, Krim, Not Even Wrong podcast, June 6th, 2020. Purpose of this episode is to talk a little bit about the name, Not Even Wrong. Why did I choose to call this podcast Not Even Wrong? And what are the thoughts about this? The phrase Not Even Wrong is made famous by Wolfgang Pauli, a physics professor at the Polytechnic in Zurich, something around the 1920s. A big figure in the development of quantum mechanics. And he was mocking scientists when they argued with what he thought was not even a theory. So he would tell them, look, you're not even wrong because there's no theory I can measure and falsify your argument against. So if you just talk to me in terms of some sort of anecdotal argument that you're giving me and you're trying to make a case, I can't test that, and therefore I cannot say if you're right or wrong. So not even wrong is obviously a derogatory phrase. And the reason I chose the name for this podcast is because we're a hedge fund. The purpose of the Not Even Wrong podcast is to give people a feel for what it is like to run a hedge fund. And as hedge fund managers, we are often at risk to be not even wrong. And this is not a good position to be in. Let me elaborate a little bit. So, I think it's obviously clear that we're not in the scientific realm no matter what. So we can't argue that there is something like a Popper type science that we can pursue and test theories against data and then be right and or wrong. I think that is not even possible given the huge amount of uncertainty that you're exposed to when predicting the future of financial markets. And this is really what we do in the risk-taking business. We have to know something that nobody else either knows or believes in, and then that thing that we know or believe in also has to be translating into some sort of return, and that's very difficult to achieve in a sort of scientific way. However, we strive to earn the right to be either right or wrong. What I mean with that is that even though it's very hard to discern all the noise and really figure out what actually the signal is in this messy world that we live in, I think there's a way to have a theory and to be able to falsify the theory. And if we don't falsify the theory, then there is a certain path towards actually successful returns. I think that's, in a nutshell, this is what we're trying to achieve with Orange Capital Partners. And this is why we chose to call this podcast Not Even Wrong, because I think anybody who contemplates of entering the hedge fund business should take this as a North Star. Try to get to a point where you can be either right or wrong and get out of the not even wrong land. Let me give you some examples. So, for example, when we invested in Twitter in 2015, we were excited, like a lot of people, about social media, the ability to have this, conversation in the town square at scale globally. So we believed in all that, but that's a not even wrong type of thesis. However, what I think was a lot more tangible and a lot more falsifiable and therefore a little bit more scientific was the thesis that Twitter is going to become the best artificial intelligence company when it comes to text, just by nature of the business. We thought that Twitter will be very good at using artificial intelligence to stop trolling, to make recommendations for tweets, and to help advertisers find the best possible applications of their advertising dollars. And we thought that this will be a flywheel which will propel Twitter to a very successful business. And then throughout 2015-16, the stock didn't do well, but that wasn't really the concern. What really concerned us, and when we finally realized that we're wrong, is when we spoke to the company and its management, and even when Jack Dorsey came back, and we realized that they're actually not doing almost anything in AI. And I think that is even today the main reason why I wouldn't invest in Twitter, because their artificial intelligence effort, if you ask me, is still very reactive and way behind the cutting edge. So therefore, we were wrong. We earned the right to be wrong. We lost money, but we learned a great deal out of that investment, and it helped us get ourselves into better positions. Let's take another positive example. Tesla, our largest position today. We have about 70% of our assets in Tesla. The thesis in Tesla is that they have an edge in developing advanced battery technology that will bring down the cost of their batteries, increase their ranges, and make charging very fast and efficient. And that will propel their cars, which are, on top of everything else, also very consumer friendly in terms of like they're hot and nice and fancy and whatnot. But the actual technology leadership that Tesla has will allow them to stay competitive in the market. And that's something we can test. We can talk to industry experts, we can talk to the company, we can read papers, there's ways to test that. It's not 100%, but we can get a sense for the technological leadership of Tesla. We can test their market share gains whenever they bring new products, and therefore continue to be not falsified in our thesis, and therefore also sustain the high stock price and expect further increases in the stock price, because this theory seems to be working. I want to make clear that returns or stock prices or any kind of price that we're actually exposed to as investors, that always has to be an effect. It cannot be the means to an end, meaning the actual stock price can only be a result of something. It's not the actual thing that we're investing in. We can't have the stock price go up just for the sake of going up. It has to go up because the company is doing certain things, or if you invest in oil futures, it has to go up because oil has a certain dynamic that it's exposed to. But what I'm trying to say is that the stock price that Tesla is currently showing on the screen has to be a result of the theory that we believe in, and therefore we believe we have earned the right to be either right or wrong on this investment. Right now we're right, and I think we're going to we're continuing to be right on this one, and we will make actually a lot more money with this investment over the years. And if something changes on the front lines there, if we all of a sudden have a reason to falsify that theory, because maybe Tesla is losing the lead in technology, or the technology is going somewhere else where other people have leads, then we would have to readjust our investment, regardless of the stock price. I hope this helped clarify a little bit the name of the podcast, Not Even Wrong. I will try to come up with more examples, and also as we continue with the elaborations and as we continue sharing our thoughts, we can apply this to many other ideas also. Let's say yesterday's podcast, June 5th, when I spoke about the low interest rates environment in the US and the expectations of even lower interest rates. I think that's a falsifiable thesis. And therefore it's another right or wrong type of theory, and not a not even wrong type of theory, and therefore also has a lot more merits and potential to generate returns. Thank you.